Hello viewers, welcome to Worldwide Economic Migrants. My name is Mrs. Maivise, and we move from one country to another, and we move for a better future. So today I want to share with you on this. I am someone who believes that we are blessed in the city and we are blessed in the country, which means we should prosper in towns and also in rural areas. Whether you have a farm, you have a plot, we should use the resources we have wisely. So I have seen, like in our African countries, that there is a massive construction of mansions, investments in rural areas, which is very good. Yeah, I really love that. Yeah, so today I want to share about that, my thoughts regarding that, and I am in support of the use of the resources we have. We need to use them wisely. In some cases you find that when you go to other countries, you learn to value your country. Like in my case, with what I saw in some of the countries, it made me to value my country, value the land we have in Zimbabwe, because in some countries getting land is very challenging and very expensive, that you find that most people who end up even buying houses, through mortgages. Unlike you find that in some of our African countries, we can just buy land, then you build, which will be cheaper for some of us. Like previously I told you that we had to look for land, so it was cheap, like buying that land and like taking a mortgage, looking at our situation. So this land we have in rural areas, we need to use that land wisely also. So that's why you see some who are in diaspora now doing major investments back home. Some they build, just a mansion, maybe it's for retirement or what, which is good. But let me comment now. I was in Zimbabwe in November 2024. And then we were going somewhere deep in rural areas with one of my relatives with his friend. So we saw a big nice house. It was like a mansion. And then he started commenting, one of my relatives' friend, that that house is nice. And we also commented it was nice. And then this friend went on to say that for him, he preferred that if he have a house like that one, which was nice in a rural area, there should be also sister houses in towns. So he was saying, if I can afford building such a nice house in a rural area, there should be another houses that generate money in town. It should not only be this one. So we started talking. So I'm just feeling it like, let me express my views regarding that. I appreciate that we need to use that land, since we are blessed in the city and in the field. Some of us, you would find that maybe your situation at that moment, even maybe what you are doing, maybe you can see that you cannot afford buying, land in town. But instead of keeping on crying, saying, I don't have money, what can I do? You can just go for that rural land, which is cheap. If you can get that rural land, just build something there. That's life. If you are to do projects there, you do. That's life. Start with what you have. If you have that rural land, use it wisely. So to me, it's a good idea. But then, let me come back now to the point of this friend of my relative who said she expects that nice mansion in rural area should have its sisters in town. I am in agreement with him. Because for me, I think what we said when we were talking about looking for a land in town should be the same when we are looking for a land in a rural area. When we want to develop or want to invest in a rural area, that same scrutiny would have to do when we are looking for a land in town. It's the same we should do when we are looking for a land in a rural area. We should not just build because we have seen mansions, maybe where you saw those nice mansions, then you are overwhelmed, you are inspired, then you think, I can go and build that big mansions at my village or at that abandoned place. And you build that big mansion, maybe in an abandoned place where buses cannot even reach. Let me tell you this. There is someone, this person went abroad. And then because of this exposure, like what we said, that chitra chiri murutsoka, there are many things we learn as we move in these countries. So this man was inspired with mansions, nice buildings. And then because he had no land in town, and at that moment, I think according to him, he could not afford land in town. So after being overwhelmed with development he was seeing in that foreign country, he made a plan that now I'm going to build a mansion in his rural home. That rural home, you know where I come from? I come from Good. And I was married, Chipinge. So there are those places which are too remote. There are certain areas which are like that, where like if you are dropped by the bus here, you walk a long distance climbing mountains. There are areas which are like that. And even you, if you have your car, when you are driving in that area, you feel sorry for your car. So, on such remote areas where you know that people are even abandoning those places, going to towns, there are few people who are living there, even though they are people. That may build a mansion. When I'm saying a mansion, you know the type of a house I'm talking of. No, those houses where you can have 6 rooms, 8 rooms, and you do the finishings in a modern way. Very attractive. He built. He finished building, putting those nice standards. find in towns. Not that we can also not find it in town, in the rural areas we can. So those standards are the standards he used when he was building that house. And after he has built that house, there was no one who was staying there. That house became a talk of the community. No one staying there. Do you know that for a house not to collapse, it is the breath of a human being that keeps a house. Mweya w'omunhu ndiwo unochengeta imba. I'm trying to say, if a house remain standing without someone staying there, inoparara, it get destroyed. Mweya w'omunhu ndiwo unochengeta imba. So it became the talk of the village. That, oh, that mansion, that mansion, that mansion, that mansion. And you know, what are these? Owls, mazis, shiremwa beds are the ones who will be staying on that mansion. It was abandoned. After he has used the resources to do that, he realized that he wasted resources on an area which is not fit for that type of a house. Himself, he did not come back from where he was. He was staying with the wife and the family there in that country. There was no one to stay there. So it was just wasting resources. That's life. So why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you so that you think carefully, you plan carefully, think also ahead. Are you really going to stay in that place which is abandoned, those deep forests? Is it worth it building such a big house with those qualities, whatever you put? Is it worth it? This man was overwhelmed with what he had seen, and you know, when you are naive, you are. So I am saying there are some who build. They build, yes, they know what they want to do, they enjoy, yes, you see there are people there, things are fine, their project is fine. But I have also seen abandoned structures like this one I talked of, where after you have used your money, you realize that you have wasted resources. Because you heard people saying, let's move to rural areas, let's move to rural areas. We need to take our time, study the environment. Where do you want to build? Do you really love that place? I remember there was a time I heard that in Chipinge they were saying there were plots that were being sold. And I remember my husband telling me, and he knows me, I love, construction and getting late so much. So maybe he thought I was going to be excited and I was going to say I need it. But he was surprised. And I said, no, I don't need it. And he said, why? I said, personally, I know how it is to drive a long distance from Harare, where you are staying, to go to Chipinge, deep in forests there. Because that's where the rural home will be, if we had decided to buy that land. And I know it that it's difficult to afford it, going there every weekend. And maybe you're working in Harare. I said, no. I'm not saying we should not build in rural areas. We should build. But let us build after you have assessed and see even the size of the house. Who is going to stay there? What is going to be done there? Are you going to use those rooms? I once saw another woman in Zimbabwe, Harare, there when I was there. And this woman said, I went home there, in Mutare there. And you know, people in my village who are in diaspora are building mansions. But they are nice. But my worry, I was very worried. I said, why? He said, after building the mansions, some of the houses are abandoned. And some you start seeing now them taking seedlings of potatoes, putting in that nice mansion. You know what? You can see that it is now doing what it is not supposed to be doing. But at least if there is someone who is staying there, it's better. Because we said the breath of a human being is what keeps a building. Kufema iko kwati chitete iko kundo kunochengeta nokugara ndo kunoita timba isafa. So at least if there is someone who is staying there, you say thank God. There are some who end up telling the truth that I wasted resources. Okay, let us stop talking about that. Let me come to me, my situation. My children, I have raised them in foreign countries. Yes, we used to visit our rural homes, yes. But these children were raised in foreign countries. Lesotho, Eswatini, UK, we don't know where we will end. So as we were raising them, we have also put that spirit of moving from country to country. So I'm trying to think, will my children live where they are? Go and stay, maybe if I had built a mansion saying, my children will come and live in a deep forest where buses cannot reach, where you walk 4 hours, 5 hours to go to a bus stop. And when you need a bus, you wake up from 1 a.m. for you to catch the bus at 6 a.m. Do you think my children, I'm just trying to think, I don't know where they will be. Maybe the other ones will be in UK, other ones in Australia, I don't know. America, Dubai, I don't know. South Africa or Zimbabwe, I don't know. So you think of future, that this building, will there be people who will stay in this building? I'm just talking. Let's build. But we need to think ahead. I'm just commenting. But we were given free will. It's your choice. You do what you want. I know there are some who just want to build those mansions because you just want that satisfaction that I build it. That's fine. But if you're someone like me who also think ahead and see how is it going to help into future generations, and you know what? The house you have built in a rural area, no matter it is a mansion, a big one, no matter it costs you a lot, it does not have much value because of where it is located. I'm talking. But I'm not saying if you have your plans, you know your plans, maybe you are going to stay there, you are going to do investments there. I have seen who are like that. You know that there will be workers there, there's no problem. But I'm talking to some who may just jump into it because people are just saying, let's move to rural areas, let's move. You end up not assessing the environment, whether it is conducive for what you want to do or for your plans. That is my point. I think you are getting me. Building with a purpose. We don't just build. You know, when we started, having where to put our head, what we wanted was where to put our head. But we should grow. And for those who have not started building, those are the ones we are telling that when we are building, we don't just build. We build with a purpose. Even when we are moving from country to country, we don't just move. We move with a purpose. We are moving for a better future. That is the spirit. That's what I believe. So when I'm talking, where I come from, I have seen abandoned mansions. But at least those mansions, the good part is, long back, our forefathers used to have, like in Africa, many children. 8 children, 10 children. Myself, in our family, were 10. So if they would build that mansion in a farm, that big house, at least there were many children who would use that house. Like myself, at our home, that house, yes, it's reasonable, the size. But here it raised many people, generations. I don't know, we are on the 4th generation, I don't know. But what I know is that it raised generations, that house. It did its part. Yes, I think you are getting me. So I'm saying, which is different from these days. These days we reduced even the number of children we are having. Those of us who have 4 children, sometimes people, they laugh at us and say, hey, 4 children. But that's what it is. We are the ones, 4 children and above, we are the ones who are about, hey, vakazvarisa. Vanhu vakuzvara vana vashoma zvokuti pavana ivavo mwana uchasara achigara paimba iyo ndiani. In deep forests there, long back, you would find there would be, because there were many children. So if you have many children, there may be at least some chances that maybe another child will be disadvantaged. Maybe that child will be the one who will be at home. But these days, we have 2 children, 3 children, and we try our best to give them education. If I have seen that this child is skilled in this, I try by all means to make sure that that child prospers with that skill. So who is going to stay in that deep rural home there? We need to think about it. We need to think about it. So that friend said, this mansion should have its sisters in town. Sisters that generate money in town. I have seen people who retired and they have used their money building in rural homes, in farms which are abandoned there, which is good. Building maybe 2 mansions there, doing everything in places where you walk 30 kilometers to go to your farm. After you are dropped by the bus, you walk. You are lucky if you see a skolokolo. If you see a car which is just passing by, if you try to stop them and they carry you, otherwise you walk. And then you see people going there, doing like what whites used to do, because themselves they would keep it and they would get even loans for them to do farming. They would have, if it's cattle, if it's farming, and they had, cars, those ones which are, to move in those farms, in those roads. And then, I'm not saying let's do it, do not do it, but let us think carefully. And then I am working. I started investing, building mansions there, in that place. Life, can change anytime. How many will want to go and stay there? Even if you start doing farming, you will find that taking even your tomatoes to go with them to that, if it's growth point or if it's a town which is 30 kilometers, how are you going to take it? If you don't have a car, or that is kolo you have is no longer working, how are you going to take those whatever perishables to the market? I'm talking of this. When I speak here, I don't just talk. I talk real life experiences. It becomes an abandoned home. I have seen people who died because of stress. You retire, you realize, oh, I wasted my money doing this. Now I am now here. I don't have money. And you know, this rural home, it does not give you money. If you have your cows, especially if it's livestock, at least if you manage to keep them, you have someone who is better. But I have seen abandoned mansions, and I have talked to retired people, the elderly. Some of them, they are grateful, everything is fine. Some of them, they tell you that they wasted resources on this. And also, when you are going to build there, look at yourself, your personality. Are you someone who can stay in deep rural areas there? Just to go there, spend 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, and see how you feel when you are there. And also go there with just, and see if you can also live there without money. See if you are able to live there, not just copy people saying, let's build it. We need to build. We need to use those resources. We need to use that land profitably. Yes. I believe you are blessed also in the field. We need to fully utilize those land. Me, I love farming. Farming is just in me. I love it. And I need land also. But that's me. That's a story. I will talk about it another day. So I think you are getting what I'm saying. Where did I put my remote? I can't see it. I think you are... Where did I put it now? I'm not seeing it because I want to finish now. We will continue talking about this. So I am trying to say, whether we are buying in town, let's build with a purpose. Whether we are doing it in rural areas, let's do it with a purpose. And there are certain investments you have to do, and make sure you have that security, that the government will not come there and relocate you. Because you know, when you are also building, or when you have that rural land, just know it's a state land. If the state thinks it like they want to do development there, you are relocated to somewhere. That's why I'm saying we should not sometimes not pump out too much money, especially on this mansion where you know that no one is going to stay there, or maybe 1 or 2 people are going to stay there. I know, yes, some feel good when there's in that mansion with no people. Yeah, it's fine. So I am saying, if the government comes now and they want to do developments there, or maybe the place is close to a growth point or a town, and the town is expanding, and they say we want to put in this order, or where your house is, that's where the road will cut through. Oh, may God have mercy on us. God forbid. That will not happen to us. Imagine how you will feel when that mansion is being destroyed. That's why that one was saying, when we have this mansion, it should have sisters there in town. If you have sisters there in town, at least, when you sleep thinking of what is happening, you just tell yourself that at least I have those ones in town. At least I will rise again. I'm not saying even if it happens, you will not rise again, you will rise again. People fall and they rise again, and we learn from our mistakes. That's life. The towns are expanding. You have seen that in some places, the council will end up taking those, you know what happens. And then you buy land, you get land, rural land, it's cheap there. Though it's not sold, but sometimes what happens, you have that rural land, and then the government now, and they say they want this. Yes, sometimes you find that in certain places they may say those who were there, they will allocate you, at least a portion. Allocate you. But maybe there is a plan they need. That mansion. That's why I'm saying we need to build with wisdom. Let us build with purpose, so that it will be well with us. I'm talking. I think you are getting what I'm saying. Let's build with a purpose. Vamwe vana vedu vatinoti tiri kuvakira dzimba idzi. Mansion acho anenge asingazoproduce mari. Avane nawo. Ndina vanhu vandakaona ine, you have seen some, the elderly who are in diaspora, telling me that we got land. In Zimbabwe we had that land, those plots, we got land. And then we thought of building. We build a mansion. And sometimes the children are grown-ups and they are not even staying there in your mother country in Zimbabwe. You build that mansion. And the children will tell you are building it for who will stay there. And you yourself, maybe, when you retire, you realize, I should not leave UK because my health. I need good health services. I should not leave Eswatini. I have seen people there, Lesotho, South Africa, Eswatini, who made a decision that they are not going back to Zimbabwe because of their health conditions. Now, if they go back there, it will be a struggle for them to get treatment. And you realize that, I cannot go back to Zimbabwe. What will happen to that mansion? I have seen parents who are in diaspora who are saying, our children told us that you wasted money and now just have to finish it because you cannot sell it to someone and get the real value of that house. And we put those standards of nowadays. Building is expensive. I used to tell people, they know me, that building, we say build. It's not easy. Building just a toilet, it's not easy. That's why you see, if you go to certain homesteads, you will not find a toilet. Because just building even a toilet, even a fowl run. We just leave them. We leave chickens. If we see these road runners, they stay in trees there. Building just a fowl run, it's not easy. Trying to tell you, though it's doable. What about construction? So, you talk to these parents, they say, we wasted resources now, we wasted our time, we could have done something better with that man. Oh, I have spoken. I'm not saying let us not build, but let us build with purpose. Where do you want to build? What is it that you are going to get when you are doing that? Are you the person who really wants to be in that place? Do you really love staying in that place? Is it sustainable maintaining that place? You have to think of that. What about the security? One day will the government not want to do something, developments on that place? So even if you are expanding to rural areas, I also advocate for doing projects that generate income. And when it's now, when you know that now you're at that level, you start investing somewhere. Like also even getting, where you can invest so that you have also money coming. So that in your evening days, you know that you get money from somewhere. I think you are getting what I'm saying. But let us not be afraid of building. We just have to have that spirit of resilience. We build, but we build with a purpose. That is the spirit. I rest my case. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not seeing my... Okay, I have seen it. Thank you. See you next time. Goodbye.